Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
It really is great, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How was your Thanksgiving?
It could have been better. I've been sick. I'm trying not to cough a little. So if I pick up the drink, it's because I've been coughing a lot.
Well, that's okay. We have everything's green because it is the second day of December. We're getting in the holiday spirit. Class in the White House again. That was Melania's display. I think it's called Home for the Holidays is the theme this year, which is perfect.
And they had a Christmas party, I believe, last night. I think it was last night. It might have been today. I can't remember. I just saw the pictures, which I thought were beautiful. There were a lot of people there. I saw Riley Gaines was there.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was a Christmas tree lighting.
Yeah, and they were decorating trees too. Yeah. Nick Freitas was there, which was nice to see. So there was a lot of good people there.
Yeah, definitely. So it is the holiday season, but the season in North Carolina is heating up because candidates are filing, and that started yesterday. So we've got a very big show. Two things happened, major things happened. Laws took effect that we had been waiting for, that you and I and others have worked really hard at the grassroots level to pass. And those are some important laws that are now going to be enacted. We're going to talk about the Afghan thing and the North Carolina connection and Tim Moore's connection at the end. But we're going to highlight some primaries first. So it's going to be exciting.
Well, just getting heated up in the primary season. Thank goodness North Carolina, Texas, and Arkansas go first because I don't want to go through that all year.
Right. It's going to go first. The last day of filing is what, the 18th or the 19th?
19th.
Okay, right. Florida has a very long filing process also.
Yeah, they do.
It's just very
Ours
quick.
Ours is relatively short, thank God.
It is, but the voting time is very long.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good news is we get the primary done, runoffs done, and then we really just have to listen to the ads. And really, you have to do that because we don't get TV for North Carolina.
You're not in the media market. You're not one of the main media markets like I am. So, okay. So Irina's Law. There's been a lot of play about this. Mecklenburg County, that's in the Charlotte area, biggest city in the state. I think 15th largest in the country. Irina Zaruska, obviously, this is the law in her namesake, passed for her because of really the revolving door of criminals, not only in Mecklenburg County, but every other Democrat-run city. So this eliminates the no money bail. So that's huge. That's going to be very important. Magistrate oversight. So we've got some magistrates, you and I have talked about this, where that one particular magistrate in Charlotte that had to do with releasing DeCarlos Brown Jr. didn't even live in the state. Is that correct?
Well, we don't know if she lived in the state. We know she's not from the state, and she wasn't in the state very often. So we don't really know. She has multiple residents in Ohio, Michigan, and North Carolina, apparently.
And multiple businesses in other states. So it raises the question. She has no footprint here. So we're going to have magistrates, obviously, that are overseeing. This is a very big problem. So this is one of the things that the law will allow for. Again, this takes effect, you guys, today. So that's going to be good. And we need that very much. Let's see. And then the next part of this, death penalty resumption. So this is a big one. We've had a de facto pause for, 20 years here in the state?
Yes.
Okay. So it requires lethal injection and backup methods. Now, I get the feeling we're going to have to oversee this because with the governor, Josh Stein, a Democrat, he's going to do everything he can to stop it.
Well, I think one of the things you're going to see, Sloan, is pardons and commutations are not going to happen at the end of a term. I think the governor is going to start doing pardons and commutations for those he doesn't want to see go through the death penalty, because like Roy Cooper did, who let a 2-time murderer have his sentence commuted. Josh Stein is just as bad and allows crime to be, rampant, and he's going to use his pardon power.
Earlier on, well, politically, I mean, that will affect politically somewhat. We can be able to use that, in a campaign, I would imagine. I know that sounds macabre, but sometimes, you work with the only thing you have, right? Okay, so this is an expansion of involuntary commitment. This was important in the DeCarlo Brown Jr. case because we've seen this over and over again. These violent criminals, their moms try to turn them in, their family tries to turn them in. Nobody will help them.
Well, the biggest problem in North Carolina is we stopped using mental institutions like Georgia Dix and others because honestly, it was the safest place for them.
Right. For society, for them. That is huge. And so I know that there's going to be the last thing I like to hear about politically is a committee. There's going to be a committee to undertake. Another committee usually means you're going to do jack shit about it, but to open mental institutions, we have to stay on that. So DAs get a formal role in the hearings. This is why, let me tell you, DA elections in all 100 counties in North Carolina will be during the midterms, and that is why you need to get your ass out to vote. And we're going to be pestering you about that from now until next November.
Well, the biggest things we got to do, get good sheriffs in there that are constitutional sheriffs, get great judges in there, and get good DAs in there. Yeah, that's really, really going to save North Carolina.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize it until something horrible happens to them.
Like this.
Yeah, so absolutely have to do that. Order study. Oh, yeah, there's another word in politics I despise, a study. The link between mental health and public safety. Let's see what happens in that study. Okay, here's another one. Political Terrorism Prevention Act. So it creates a new category of crime motive, right? Political ideology becomes a legally recognized basis for enhanced punishment. So if you come here to my house or where I'm parked or whatever and want to key my car or bash my window in, and we find out the motive is because could be anything, but Republican, it's going to enhance the penalty. And this was a bipartisan, widely supported bipartisanly. Sentencing shift, felony class bumped up one level, and loss of parole options. Death penalty. So if you, God forbid, have your life taken or if your family has your life taken because of political motivation, capital murder. Strong AG involvement. Special prosecutors, the AG we have now, not so great, right? But I think that this, even though it says against political violence, do you think that it has the chance to be politicized here?
What is political violence? Because I got to ask you, if somebody files a false defamation case against you, is that because you're a Republican? Is that political violence?
It's political violence to your free speech, your constitutional rights, and your pocketbook. So,
Well, so I mean, that's the point I'm trying to make is what's the term mean? Because if it means something,
because this
I'm all for it.
lawfare bullshit, this lawfare bullshit, it begs the question, right? If you get, and I'm just saying, this is a random case, right? A hypothetical. Let's just say that you post on X, and the police, they go and they see on your X masthead,
a very innocent picture,
that you're a Republican. Is that political violence?
As you put that slide up, I started thinking, is speech political violence? Because the left says that all the time, and if it is, I'm definitely going to use that law to my advantage.
If you know. Okay, so that's coming into effect. Okay, so this is a big crime bill. So it's SB 311. Doesn't have a sexy name, but this is kind of cool. Mass picketing. Okay, so if a crowd blocks the entrance to your, let's say you're in a salon, okay, or whatever, right? There's a few ladies working there, and somebody politically doesn't like that you voted for Trump, right? And they organize a rally right in front of the door, and people can't get in. Never thought of this, but it does happen. And so this is called unlawful conduct in a workplace, and that's good.
Well, would that be at like UNC's ROTC building?
I would imagine that there would be enhanced federal laws for doing that on
a campus.
Yeah. Very interesting. So employee only area. Okay. So if you are, this is kind of neat. It's the first time I'm hearing of this. So if you're just in a grocery store minding your business, that's never going to be trespassing, obviously. But when you jump over the counter, that's going to be an extra penalty. You see?
Yeah. I want to read that one because it sounds a little bit like there's more to it than meets the eye.
Well, it does look like an enhancement. So if you're going to be charged with armed robbery, you can also be charged with this. Hey, Cajun, how are you, darling? Oh, I love your icon. You have it holiday adjusted. Very, very cool. Larceny
of gift cards. That's about time we got to that one.
Yeah. So if you steal a gift card, if you steal it from somebody or you steal it from a store, I think probably the same thing. A felony, so they have the same charges as larceny, etc. Felons using firearms, there's an enhancement. And I think what this is doing, this hits repeat offenders where it matters: time, certainty, and seriousness. So it's not a new charge, it is an enhancement. Because if they're already a felon committing a felony with a gun, they're already going to be charged. This is another charge. So this is, enough to keep repeat felons like the ones we've seen in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County over and over again behind bars.
And there needs to be enhancements because we've said this over and over again. Criminals do not care about permits or, concealed carry document. They don't care about that. They're going to get a gun any way they can. Correct.
And I think this is good because they're saying that even if, you've got a bad DA, even if you've got a bad judge, this is something that would hold. Or if you've even got the best judges and DAs in place, right? And you can't make the charges stick or whatever, for whatever reason, you can use it, right? So this is good.
Yeah, I think that compounded with habitual felony attempts in North Carolina, which is not another enhancement. When you can stack the enhancements, that's when you can really keep them behind bars.
I'd love a 3 strikes law, and I think we're getting to that.
What our habitual law is.
We need it a little bit more laid out. I think we could all agree we need that. Anti-squatters law, we talked about this earlier in the year. It finally becomes law. It's a brand new fast track anti-squatter dedicated expedited court process, meaning you don't have to go into the regular court, which could take you 30 days. Perfect.
Good.
Yeah, hard deadlines that move enforcement speed. You get the sheriff comes out there in 24 hours, hearing in 48 hours. If the owner wins,
Vamos after that
to GTFO.
Oh.
Okay.
Good.
Yes, it adds teeth. It shields a good acting magistrates and others. It's just, yeah, I mean, so we have a lot of rental properties. I know that in Western North Carolina, it's big business. On the coast, it's huge. I mean,
well, I think the bigger thing is it really settles in the fact that owners of property have rights, and they're going to recognize those rights and put them forefront. And that's what we need to do.
correct. Definitely forefront. Got to have that up there. So speaking of Charlotte, we've been speaking of Charlotte and crime, etc. Charlotte just got a brand new police chief to replace Jennings. First of all, I want to say this: drop dead gorgeous. She is leaving Raleigh, where I am, okay, and she's going to Charlotte. But look at the violent crime increase since she has been here in Raleigh.
But she wasn't the chief there, was she?
She was, I believe. Yeah.
Well, listen, she did a great ad. I saw her ad.
Yep.
It was very, it was a bunch of puffy stuff. I want to be your friend. Come talk to me. I'm going to listen to the people. She's very articulate.
She is. Yes, she was the chief, and she, a gorgeous woman. I mean, you almost can't get behind that with a woman like this. So I think the officers there are going to have a hard time, keeping it together. But here's the deal. She made a DEI mandate in Raleigh that she would hire, I think, 30% women. So always a problem, right? If you're going for gender, especially dealing with violent crime, if you're hiring more women, look, I mean, I'm fit. We're fit. I'll never be able to run at the rate of a very fit male, right? We need fit males in this job. And I'm not saying that females can't do the job, but if you're going to have a ride along, you're going to need males to do that.
Well, let's just get to the point. DEI really takes away from having the best candidate, which should be on merit. I don't care what sex you are. If you can kick a guy's ass, fine, good, go do it. But if you're not, then you're hiring a bunch of people that are just going to sit around and not be able to do effective police work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hiring on color and on gender, bad idea all the way around. She's done it. Not surprising. Look, we've had a female in Durham, 2 in a row, total shit show with DEI women being hired. And I'm saying that after the fact. You can't say that Charlotte hired this woman based on DEI. You can't, because she has experience. She's actually coming from a similarly situated job, right? But the other ones, like the one in Durham, she didn't have the same experience. So in other words, when you go looking for something, a lot of times you're going to find crap quality.
Probably so.
So,
I mean, I don't agree with the whole DEI thing to begin with. I think there are plenty of people that have the skill sets to be able to do the job, and merit is the most important thing, especially in a safety job.
When it comes to public safety, when it comes to healthcare, like we've been talking about with foreign doctors, pilots is another thing you don't want to mess with.
Right.
You don't want that. So you can't afford any mistakes. So anyway, all right. So let's talk about who filed today. There were not really any surprises here. Okay, this is funny. Elizabeth Temple. I looked and I said, who the hell? Okay, so she ran against Larry Strickland in Johnson County and got 10% of the vote in a primary.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, God bless her. She thinks she's
yeah. Well, there's more. So apparently, she was a substitute teacher in Wake County in 2020, and she faced the accusation from students that she was racist in class. We know that's always correct. She denies it. She told allegedly children that if their parents did not vote for Donald Trump, they weren't Christians, and that she these are allegations she denies. Also, she said allegedly that the way the boys were dressed would land them in prison for the rest of their lives, and they were Black. They were 10 years old. This is what they say. This is what she says. But then she goes on to say, this was the weird part. She said she was a member of the NAACP and worked with William Barber. Now, this does not look like a typical member of the NAACP.
Listen, this whole group right here, I'm concerned. It's not that I don't love Don Brown. It's not that I don't respect him. I'm concerned. This is a $1 billion race, not a $1 million race. And someone's going to, the candidate pool is concerning to me.
Okay. Why don't you think that Don can do the job? Is it a lack of fundraising?
I don't think that he can't do the job. I don't know that he can win.
Right.
That's the concern.
Well, look, there's been a top-down effort, good or bad, from Trump to eliminate primaries. He's made it very clear he does not want primaries, right? And so what happened here in North Carolina is he endorsed Michael Whatley early. That was no surprise. He was head of the RNC. This is a surprise to no one. But the NC GOP took the extraordinary step of saying, okay, we're going to act as if there is no primary.
Correct.
We're going to act as if that's already been conducted, and we're going to coronate Michael Whatley as the winner, and we're going to act like that. And it matters in financing. But let me tell you what, people in the base are effing pissed.
We're very resentful. As a member of the executive committee, it's very upsetting to me not to have a vote or a say in that. For someone, that's no different than what they did with Kamala Harris to me.
Yeah. People are very resentful. Now, I don't know why this woman is in here. This is weird. Who put her in there? I mean, what?
She put herself in there. She thinks she's
Nah, dog. Nah, somebody set this up.
That's insane to me.
So, I mean, Elizabeth, if you're listening, we want you on the show. We definitely want you on the show.
Definitely.
But with all due respect, we don't know who the hell you are. Okay. We just know what we see. You're ready to come onto the show and tell us why you have the money to raise to beat these gentlemen, and we are going to listen to you. Okay. NC1. Here's who we have.
So far.
Republican. If you're seeing the red here, it's a Republican. Okay. Bobby Hoenig, who has been a state rep and a state senator. I like him. Okay. Eric Roos is I believe a city councilman.
He's a businessman too. He's a successful businessman as well.
Businessman. Now, Sandy Roberson, he is a character. He has run in the primaries before. He is Alan Chester's boss. I believe he's a biotech investor, but he's been anti-Trump. He was anti-Trump for January 6th, which is patently and absurdly ridiculous. So I get the feeling he's not going to get Trump's endorsement.
I don't think he's going to get Trump's endorsement at all. There's a couple more candidates I don't think they've filed yet in that group. I know there's a woman that's going to file, but she hasn't filed yet. She said she's going to. So that span of folks is going to grow.
So when we have primaries with more than two people here in North Carolina, there's a 30% threshold you need to get, right? If you're in a two-person primary, 50% of the vote is harder to get than 30% of the vote. That's why sometimes we joke and say, who put that third person in, right, to split it so that now you only need 30% to win. Let's say that neither candidate, there's a field of 5, like there was in the auditor's race, right? And 2 candidates finish up with less than 30%. There'll be a runoff.
Yeah. I think that field's going to break open even more. And let's be honest, I think the Democrats are going to help someone on the Republican side in that particular district because they know it's a 1%. It's a 1%. It's an R1. It's only a 1%. And Don Davis only won by 2%. So they need to break that field up and put a third candidate in there and really make this one a hard one.
Well, there's 3 in there. To be clear, there's 3 already.
Right. But I'm telling you, there's going to be 2 more.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be welcome. But, and that makes it harder, right? Because to get 30% in a field of 5 is going to be harder. By the way, I'm terrible at math, so you'll have to bear with me. This is interesting.
That is interesting. Very interesting.
Okay. Keith Kidwell, who is we're going to talk about him in a minute. He's a well-known hard ass. We're going to talk about him in a second. But Armstrong, listen, I mean, the guy's got some backing. He's the Beaufort Community College trustee, which means somebody in leadership, probably Destin Hall, put him in that spot, right? He's a farmer, and he owns Farmer Armstrong Farms in Hyde County. Huge operation. So
that's a very interesting matchup there.
Right. So Keith Kidwell is not he's not your warm and fuzzy kind of a guy. And I'm not your warm and fuzzy kind of a girl, so I definitely get it. Like he's a shit starter, right? So he's got, when you're like that, and when you're kind of a brazen person, you make certain enemies, perhaps, in leadership.
Listen, the only time I really remember being around him is when we were at the NCGOP convention, censuring Tom Tillis, and he cried.
I remember that.
Don't do that. I was like, dude,
he's extremely dramatic.
Next out, buddy, because we're doing it.
Yeah, he's extremely dramatic. He's done some great legislation. That's the fact. And then he helps run the Doge committee, which I haven't really seen a lot from. But he runs it with my buddy, John Torbett, who I love, this 6'8" teddy bear there. So they run it together. Haven't seen isn't that funny? They picked two giants to run the Doge committee in the House. Maybe that means something.
I listen, I've seen some really decent clips of Keith Kidwell speaking on the floor, and I'm not going to say anything to degrade him because there's just no need in it. But I will say that when he stood up and cried to keep us from censuring Tom Tillis, I was like, no, man, no.
Yeah, that's that will come to bite him in the ass. I don't know how strong Darren is. We're going to get him on the show. We're going to see this. We're going to talk. Kelly Hastings has been here for a while, and he pissed me off real good because of the foreign doctor bill. Went back and forth. But check this out. May 15th, 2025. I am not going to seek re-election because after 16 years in the General Assembly, I just need to put a term limit on myself. He says we're part-time General Assembly, and I started comparing it to Congress, which is full-time, and I started thinking, 16 years in the General Assembly is 8 years in the Congress, and since we are part-time and all this math again, that would be approximately 4 terms of 2 years.
Yawn.
Yeah, I can't really follow the bouncing ball. But May, he comes out in 2025 and says, I'm not running. Now.
But his lobbyist job fell through.
Ooh, damn. So this little girl is running. And I say little girl because I want to show you the video of her right now. Okay. Where she put this out. And Caroline, if you're listening, we need to talk.
I'm so excited to announce that I've filed for candidacy to be your next North Carolina House member in District 110, which is Cleveland and Gaston counties. Some dates that are coming up are February 6th, which is the last day to register to vote in the Republican primary or change your party affiliation. And then early voting will be here on February 12th. So before you know it, let's all get out and vote Easton for North Carolina House.
I'm not loving it. I'm not even liking it.
So I did a little perusing on Caroline's timeline. Mm-hmm. And while I admire her for getting a pharmacy degree, which I believe she has a PharmD, I'm not really hip on some of the things she's hip on. Like she supported the bill that we've been talking about that gave more openings for pharmacists, for PAs, for DOs. But she also thinks it's a great idea that pharmacists get to give out vaccines. And I'm just, nuh-uh. You're not a doctor.
Okay. So that's interesting because I don't know if I've made up my mind yet on that. So why do you think, tell me why you think doctors should be the only one to give out vaccines?
I don't say that doctors should be the only ones, but a pharmacist doesn't go to school to inject people. They are absolutely the most knowledgeable on what the vaccines actually have in them. But I don't like the idea of you going to an urgent care facility at the CVS and having a pharmacist give you a dosage. That is, their job is to hand you pills, but I don't see it's their job to inject you with medications. And I don't know. I have an aversion to that. And I don't disagree with her running as a candidate. Actually, it's good to see women run, young women who are, really, she's very engaged and enthusiastic, and she's obviously talented, but I don't agree with her. She wrote an abstract paper about that. That's what she did, which she used to give to the General Assembly about why pharmacists should be able to do some of the things they're now able to do.
So that's your point. But I'll raise you this. So I'll be full candor. Do you know what B12 shots are?
Oh yeah.
I give myself B12 shots. They keep you energy, blah, blah, etc. So, I mean, to me, I don't think there's anything to it, right? I mean, and I've been in healthcare before, and I know that the argument is always access. As far as vaccines go, you and I share the same thought. I don't get vaccines. So it's not something I do, and I'm very conscious about it. But you could say, and I think this is what she'll tell her voters, expanding access to care. She'll make that kind of argument, right?
That's what she did make in the abstract.
Yeah.
She made it all about rural communities and expanding healthcare to within retail environments to be able to go to one stop and get all your medicines and your vaccines and vaccinations.
Right. I know every time that I go to the pharmacy, I pick up something for my family, whatever, they're always asked, have you gotten these vaccinations, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. So I know that they're doing that, right? It's happening. No, I understand. I understand that that's what she's pushing, but she may do very well with that agenda. It seems to be popular, but I'm telling you that this presentation, the presentation I just saw.
It's Caroline Eason. I'm so excited to announce that
No, ma'am. You've got to work on your body presence. You have to. You have to. You're going against this guy. Hang on. Wait a minute. Okay. And whatever, rightly or wrongly, this looks great, Caroline. I love what you've done here, right? You got to work on your presence, because I'm telling you, people are going to vote for this guy over you. And if you don't want that, hit me up. Okay. We'll get you all good. When you change your glasses, you're going to be great. All right. So here we go. All right. So by the way, Caroline, if you're listening, use this against him. Ask him, say, listen, you didn't want to run. Now you want to run. What's going on?
He didn't get his lobby job, Caroline.
You could say that. Okay. So we knew this was going to happen.
Yes, we did.
Phil Berger, Sam Page. And I'm telling you, it's been a nasty race.
It's going to get worse.
Okay. So you're looking at, on the left, the most powerful man in North Carolina politics. And yes, that's correct. Even more powerful than the governor, the way that North Carolina is structured. And let's talk about this. He was censured again. Tell us a little bit more.
Oh my gosh. Iredell County. I think that's Sean McGowan is the chair there for the GOP. Mm-hmm. They censured him last week. I don't know what the precipice has always been, he endorsed a Democrat in a judge's race. But I honestly think it's a stacked deck, because there are a lot of people in the state that are involved in that race and that will be in Rockingham County to ensure that he does not get reelected. There's going to be a lot of people from outside that county that are going to help Sam Page, because they just want Phil Berger out.
And you might say, if you're listening outside of North Carolina, why would someone from another county get involved? Because the lion's share of things that are done and the laws that are made, and a lot of crooked stuff with casinos,
marijuana
things. Yeah. A lot of things that are being done are done with his fingerprints and imprimatur. So that's one.
And just in the last session, we saw the friction that you've not seen in a long time between the North Carolina House and the North Carolina Senate. And it felt very much like the Senate was creating the friction specifically around that bill we talked about extensively with the doctors.
The foreign doctors bill.
Right. And you could feel the friction. I know you could.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they made me the problem. Remember, when I say things people don't like, I become the problem. So the foreign doctors bill, if you're just sharing about this, it opens the door for any foreign country, basically, to bring in, to come in here and to not have a doctor or not have an American license, U.S. license, and get one provisionally. taking a test and with no supervision. And that was done by Phil. So was the Shrimpgate thing, where explain that for a second.
Yeah, so Shrimpgate was really a mandate on shrimpers that they had to follow very specific guidelines and could not fish in specific shrimp and
like American doctors,
right, in very specific areas, which really would have really brought the industry down. And honestly, let's be very transparent here. There's no love lost between Bobby Hoenig and Phil Berger. And there's a reason why Bobby Hoenig has stepped out and said, I'm going to run for Senate. For Congress. It's because there's no love lost there. And he knows what Phil Berger's like. We all do. Let me just give you an example. Mm-hmm. Mike Causey now has Mike Causey is the insurance commissioner for the state of North Carolina. He now has an office that's the size of a closet.
Yeah.
And he was stripped of his ability and his ownership of the fire marshals because Phil Berger went after him because Mike Causey went to the FBI about Robin Hayes, our former NCGOP chair, who got put in jail for wiretapping fraud.
There's a lot of stuff there.
Oh, yeah, but the bottom line is Phil Berger will punish you.
Oh, damn straight. Yeah, we know that. So, Page put this out that Berger endorsed Cruz. Well, look, we knew that Berger's staff was vehemently against Trump.
And us.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? Who isn't against us, quite frankly, that's in power? I mean, honestly. So he put this up there today, and we just need to keep that in mind. Now, the Democrats, let's talk about this. This is up in the Virginia, around the Virginia line. Dang it, I forgot the name. Sorry. So Rodney Pierce and Michael Ray is coming back. So Rodney Pierce beat Michael Ray in the last time. Rodney Pierce, you see on the left, is a DEI fanatic. He has written the most despicable, disgusting, violent things about white women. He was a teacher, and he was fundamental in helping North Carolina put the most horrific things into the social studies curriculum that you would ever want to see. So Michael Ray is I guess you would say moderate, and lost by 34 votes.
Oh, wow.
So
good. We'll have to help old Michael get his job back.
Well, Michael Ray voted. Actually, he voted for his constituents. He, voted to keep men out of women's spaces. And it infuriated the Democrats. Obviously, the Democrat Party leadership here in North Carolina is excruciatingly radical. We're talking about they love and embody trans and militant Islam at the same time.
Well, hopefully the voting, now that the North Carolina State Election Board is going to make sure that people are American citizens and check their ballots, maybe old Mike will get back in there.
Yeah, Roanoke Rapids is where.
Right
the guy's despicable, literally despicable. So we have to hope for Michael Ray. Now, this is interesting. This is in Wake County, right around where I am. So this is House 37. Wake County now has 2 reps, a very, very blue county, right? It has 2 reps that are Republican, Erin Paré and Michael Sheaslitz. Well, this is in Erin Paré's district. She hasn't registered yet. She hasn't signed up yet. She is a 3-term rep. So the guy you see on the left is a UNC law professor, and he's big in the community. The guy on the right is a PhD in government affairs and works in government affairs. And both of them are very active in the community. So
they're running against Erin Paré.
They're in a Democrat primary. But the primary candidates have been that she's beaten Sydney Batch before. So, and that district is an R+3, I believe.
I thought it was R2.
It I don't know, maybe an R2 or an R3. But the Fuquay-Varina mayor, Democrat, Republican, just lost after, I think, 3 terms. So we just had a massive Democrat sweep over that way.
Well, Erin should be nicer to people that are not so mean to her. She might need their help.
Well, yeah. I think when you're in politics, again, I keep saying it. If you're in politics, the job is, addition, not subtraction, multiplication, not division. So, because when you get in tough times like this, you need allies, and you need important people. When you piss people off, they're not motivated to help you.
No, and frankly, Aaron, I just want to tell you, your latest picture doesn't look anything like you did when you were a Redskins cheerleader.
Damn.
I'm a cheer mom. I can say whatever the hell I want.
You can always say whatever the hell you want. There's going to be some strong competition there. So we need to pick up the pace, pick up the messaging, and build bridges rather than burning them down. I couldn't agree more. So this is from Chris Cooper. I want to credit him. I got this off of his Twitter feed, and his name is on the bottom. Okay.
And if you don't have his Substack, I would highly encourage you to get
fabulous. Great stuff. Great stuff. So this is a number of contested primaries for the General Assembly, 2018 to 2024. Okay. So, and it's pretty on, right? I mean, it's pretty, yeah. So it shows just in both parties that there's been a demonstrable drop in primary challengers.
Well, the other part it doesn't show this, but we know this. There may be a drop in challengers, but what we have seen is if you look at the Libertarians in the House, they're going up. And while they stayed steady in the Senate, guarantee you they'll go up this year.
Primary challengers.
Correct. And the Libertarian side.
Let me tell you, people may say, I don't give a damn. Let me tell you what, and that Wake race I just showed you, the Libertarian there, for whatever reason, they can have a record of wife beating. I kid you not. Whatever
That's
it is,
true.
They will get 3 or 4% of the vote. That is catastrophic in a House race. It is awful.
Yeah.
It happens.
People need to pay attention, and we've learned now the operatives in the Democratic Party, they will help Libertarians stay in the race to get that catastrophic outcome.
Yeah. So if you're in a Wake County race, and there's only 2 major contenders now, you need to pad in 3% of the vote, because that will be taken off by some typically lunatic who puts an L by their name. I don't know how it works. I don't know what they do. They don't campaign. They're not well capitalized, but every damn time.
Well, I don't know if you're going to put it up, Mike Schnitzelwitzer. He put his name in the hat today. I think that's District 35 or 37. I don't know.
Yeah, 35.
He's 35. Anyway, I looked back at what he won by, and I think it was only 2 or 3%. They put a Libertarian in that race, and he's going to have a hard time.
He may have had one in the last time.
He might really have a hard time this time.
Yeah, he might. So on the news front, Majority Leader Jones, said that Chapel Hill Carrboro schools are the most flagrantly left-wing schools here. And I'm going to play you the video here. Here's what teachers are teaching children. Listen to this.
Even after people who were enslaved were freed, they were not safe. And the lynchings continued to this day.
To this day.
Did you catch that? So Black Americans are lynched to this day in America.
That's where I would like to see the statistics behind that.
Well, you're not going to find them. They don't
I know.
exist.
I know I'm not. I'm just saying, show me the evidence.
Called bullshit. Yeah. So there's going to be an investigation for several reasons. This school system has been under the
They flat out said at their school board meeting they are not going to comply with anything that doesn't allow DEI in their school. And Brendan said, "Oh, we'll see you. We'll see you in our office." They're going to be the principal now.
Correct.
Which I'm all for.
Well, yeah. I mean, kids are being affected. School's in session, and they're definitely going to get schooled. So it's definitely going to happen. Okay, so we had a tragic the day before Thanksgiving Islamic terror attack in DC, and in broad daylight, you can't imagine. But 2 guardsmen from West Virginia were gunned down, and one lost her life. This is Sarah Brockton, I believe. Can you check that name? I think I've got it.
Yeah, I think Brockman.
Yeah, Brockman. Lost her life. And the other one is Lowe, and he's making a recovery. But come to find out, the guy is Afghani, and he came in on a program that we knew, we knew damn well that there was going to be no vetting. Why? Because Biden was in office. That's why.
Well, and we saw it with our own eyes. We literally saw them stack that plane or several planes filled with people. There's no way the State Department over there could have vetted. There's no way that anyone on this side could have pulled off that plane and put in a line and actually vetted with any sense of true governance. And then they put them on military bases and housing and in areas around people. And we saw the crime start to take off immediately.
Huge. Child rape, rape of women, beating of spouses. I mean, the cases are so voluminous, we don't even have time to highlight them. But actually, if you go to, I think DHS on X has done a nice chronicling of what these were. Okay, so these were people that were not vetted. In this particular case, this killer had some dealings with the CIA. They said that he was vetted and radicalized in the U.S. I'd like to know the mosque he was radicalized in, because that's where it happens.
Well, and I don't know if you read this, but he had a sponsor, a family sponsor, like a multi-million-dollar family sponsor, who clearly didn't pay attention to these people, just put them in their house and said, have a good day. And it apparently has had other discussions with other people from Afghanistan in the California area. So he's been around doing some things.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll get to the bottom of that. But I will never forget, and I was extremely pissed off on the day of Abbey Gate. Oh, let me remove this. Let me put this up. Hang on. Oh, please. Okay. So look at the date here. This is Abbey Gate. This is right around the time. This is actually a day after the Abbey Gate tragedy. As we, we're leaving, there were 13 military members set to guard an exit point, and they lost their lives by a terror attack. The terrorists were embedded in the people they were trying to get rid of. So on this date, Tim Moore, who at the time, guys, was our House leader, right? One of the most powerful people. Now he's in Congress. He dropped this video on that date. Instead of talking about our military members, here's what he was talking about in this video, and it really pissed me off.
Members who firsthand know some of these individuals in Afghanistan who are trying to get to freedom, who are worried that they or their families are going to be beaten or executed. We've seen these images. This isn't just something that's not happening. This is something that's real. And like so many others, I want to know, what can we do to help? I reached out earlier today. I called the governor and had a very good conversation with our governor, encouraging him, and I want to encourage every agency we have to make it clear that North Carolina can be a home for these folks who have been properly vetted by the State Department.
Properly vetted?
Well, first of all, okay, so if you like Tim Moore, you'll say, well, the man said properly vetted. But how in that? First of all, I want you to know, I'm going to put this up. This was passed, and I'm going to show you the votes unanimously in the House 2 days after Abbey Gate. No state in the union petitioned Congress Biden directly and begged them to bring in Afghan migrants into this country. North Carolina was the only one. Let me show you the votes. The only one in the Republican Party who did not vote because they were not there. Kidwell, good for you. Moss, Rogers, Carson Smith, Bowles, who's not there, and Bumgardner, who's not there. Those people, first of all, as a Republican, we were talking about the borders in late 2021. You should have known damn well there was no vetting going on. Shame on you.
Well, and I've read this to you earlier, but I think it's very poignant, and I'm gonna have to look down to read it, but I want to read what Dakota Myers, who's the Medal of Honor winner, and if you don't know his story and you haven't read his book, you absolutely should. He's got a great Substack, but he said, "I brought my interpreter to America. I lived the process, rightfully so. It took years of background checks, years of interviews." Years of Americans, not Afghans, verifying who he was.
Right.
Years of cross-checking his service, his actions, and his character. Years of military leaders reviewing the risk, the credibility, and the truth behind every claim. Nothing relied on Afghan paperwork. Nothing relied on Taliban-controlled systems. Nothing relied on emotion. It relied on Americans who served with him, trusted him, and firsthand had proof of his loyalty. Now, I will not deny that it was frustrating. It was slow and it was difficult work. My interpreter is successful, patriotic, and grateful to be here. That's the product of a real process.
So how in the hell could Tim Moore say that these people could be vetted by the State Department when there's no government in Afghanistan? That's the whole problem. Well, look, at the end of the day, here's what has happened.
On national security grounds since 2021, document reveals. That is a stunning number. And again, it underscores the necessity for more stringent screening, does it not?
Yes. I mean, think of it. You don't just go down to the Kabul Department of Motor Vehicles and get information in regards to an Afghan. So there has to be a much more in-depth process. And remember, the State Department in an after-action report said the Biden administration said, just get
known better. He should have known better. Tim Moore should have known better. He didn't know better. And let me give you a few stats. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to read here down. Official count as of June 2024. All in all, okay, DHS says that came in, the ones that Tim Moore looked at you and said, I'm going to ask the governor, Democrat, and every
He loves immigrants.
He loves Democrats. Yeah, I'm going to ask them all. I don't believe Tim Moore is a veteran. I don't know if he knows what the hell he's talking about or dealing with. If you had to take a guess, and I didn't tell you earlier before we got on the show, how many would you think?
Well, I know it's a scary amount because I heard Congressman Tiffany just then talk about 5,000. So I'm sure it's more than that.
3,140 Afghan program in North Carolina. They're here now.
There's actually more than that. If you look at the refugee status that's passed.
Kicked off. I got so fiery. I think we just got kicked off.
That's sad.
Yeah.
There's actually more than that, Sloan.
Okay. So there's more than that, that are declared. So all of these congressional reps that are talking about this, I know Brad Knott, this is a centerpiece for, I know Congressman Mark Harris, Pat Harris. What are you going to do about your colleagues' F up? What are you going to do to vet them and to get them out?
And take into account what a Medal of Honor winner who spent days in the back of Afghanistan with no help, what he said it took to get his interpreter through the process, because what the State Department did and what we have seen done are different. And I'll tell you a story. I don't know if you know the story, Sloan. There was a Marine over in, I think he was in Afghanistan. They're a baby, when a civilian is hurt over there, they're obligated to make sure they're taken care of. And a baby came in, a very, very newborn baby that had some very concerning injuries. And in the end, the Marine family wanted to adopt this baby. And they went through hoops and hoops to do it. And what they uncovered was how horrible and how disorganized the State Department in Afghanistan was through the entire thing. So if that's just over a baby, can you imagine what they're doing with
Well, my brother wanted My brother won a Bronze Star, by the way, for building hospitals in Afghanistan. So he knows, a lot about what that takes and what it entails. Yeah. And I called him before the show and in talking with us, and he said, yeah, even though I worked, hand in hand for years with a lot of people, some of those same people perpetrated acts of terror against our own troops. And it's hard to vouch for people, right? Even if you're a service member, just one translator, right? How do you vouch and verify multiple? You just can't.
Correct.
Tim Moore should have known better. And I want to know what the hell is going to be done to protect us from what Tim Moore has said. He earlier said in the video, it just applied to translators. There's not no 3,144 translators. He's full of it. What?
Their families came too. So we know that's bullshit.
Oh my God. And by the way, we've seen this. They get housing before Americans do.
Veterans
are school resources. Yes, they use school resources. They get health care. This has really pissed me off. Tim Moore, I'm sorry, I've never liked, because he has always been a Democrat in disguise. This proves it. This isn't a rhino policy. This is a Democrat. I don't even know if it's Democrat, because again, North Carolina was the only state that did this. So why is that?
Well, here's another question. Where the hell are they? Where are those people? Where did you hide them?
I would absolutely like to know.
I'm concerned for the welfare of the citizens of the state.
Extremely.
If you let them in, and we have no idea where they're at.
Well, I mean, we don't. We can get to it, and we can work with people in ICE and DHS, and they are. But this data here scares the hell out of me, because I'm hearing that there's 75,000 altogether in the Afghan program, and that much in North Carolina that we know of. This is insane and ridiculous. Not only are resources up in, they wonder why there's a housing crisis and an education crisis here. I mean, this is
and a crime problem.
Yeah,
I'm not blaming all of them, all of that on them, but specifically heinous crimes toward children, we know they have no value for children.
And now we're getting it. Now we may know why we're getting it. Another shitty Republican policy. Nobody has ever done this in the history of this country. The Republicans wrote and passed a bill that will allow Afghani doctors. How the fuck are we going to verify an Afghan doctor, an Iraq doctor, an Iran doctor? How are we going to verify that? Well, they haven't thought that out yet, because they're thinking, to your point, healthcare access.
Well, here's the big red flag. If Roy Cooper wants you to do it, you should never do it. Never. The fact that he was just jumping all over this, that should have been the big red flag right there.
Anybody who stands behind Roy Cooper and smiles like a jackass while he's signing a bill, or Josh Stein, pretty much should be taken out of office.
It's pretty amazing to see some of these senators who are excited to be in Josh Stein's presence. It's very disappointing, Kevin Corbin.
Yeah. And others. Tim Reeder. Tim, buddy.
Oh, he filed, by the way.
Okay, so I'm watching minute by minute to see if somebody's going to file to run against your ass. I'm hoping and praying.
That's one of the few races that I did see that I did comment on is somebody please primary him. And then the other one is the Sarah Stevens, her seat's open, and please God, somebody take AJ Dodd out, that dog. He does not need to be in our North Carolina House.
Well, we will see.
Your wife decently, don't get on.
Well, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. There's going to be a lot of drama. So we will see you guys on Thursday. I'm going to just be honest with you. I'm excited about Thursday.
Really?
I am. We're going to talk about Muslim Brotherhood. We're going to talk a little bit about Muslim Brotherhood and extend that to our conversation here. Yeah, you got on that space last night with us. That space went 3 hours.
Yeah.
But a lot of information. Yeah, a lot of information about that, keeping up with the elections, also some education stuff. So tune in.
Yeah, we got to talk about that new press corps too.
Absolutely. Oh, that's going to be fun. All right, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.